Does a new Saturday, Tuesday Mountain West schedule change anything in any ways that we might not be aware
I mean, I think what it does is uh, you know, traditionally you'd have Sundays off, so I now think just puts you in a position where you might not have Sundays off, and then you have to make that decision. Do you want to have a day off, full day off for somebody, and then, like this coming uh, Saturday, we're on the road. We don't get back until Sunday at, say, noon. So I don't know how much you are practicing. You know what I mean? So what it does is really put you in a situation where there's not much practice time as much anymore. It seems like, and that's something where, we have to come up with something where we need guys to keep improving and getting better. You do that in practice. The day before a game, if it's just game preparation, that's completely different than, it's not completely, but it's different than practice where you're really zeroing in on yourself and getting better and individual work to get guys better. So I think as we're going through it, we have to come up with some ways to make sure that, some of these younger guys that we're still doing things where, again, maybe like yesterday, half the guys practice and half don't. They just get treatment and lift weights or something like that. So it definitely is different, that's for sure. If it was a normal, say, Saturday, Wednesday, you'd come back, you'd be off on Sunday, you have 2 days to get ready. Now on the back end, on Wednesday to Saturday, you have to make that same decision, so, and then when you have a young team, you're balancing that out too, is making sure that you stay rested and guys aren't getting worn out, as you go through the entirety of the league season.
So for NCAA rules, can you stagger the days off, or does a team have to have one day off a week?
No. It's a day for a guy. Every guy, you have to have. It's an individual thing. It's not a team thing. Everybody has to follow the hours rules and whatever per individual, not as a whole group.
Got it.
Yep.
And with Jacob Highbreeder, did you find him first? Like who first put eyes on him for your staff?
I mean, I probably, Dave Metzendorf, Jared Check. I mean, all of them, at that time, it was COVID, so everything was film. There was no in-person recruiting. So they did a lot of work with him, and obviously he was getting recruited by some other schools. But he was interested right away, and I think a big part of it was, one, the school, the academics, but then two, the way of playing, it suits him, the way we play. And, we were fortunate, in the end. I think anytime you I don't know what he was rated, he's pretty fairly highly rated in the state of Indiana, which is a very good basketball state. So, it was a group thing. That's how we try to recruit. But, all those guys were on him and liked him. And then obviously, I spent a lot of time watching him. And like I said, Indiana basketball is good basketball.
So if you saw him that much, did you anticipate this, especially as a direct enter? Come in and have this kind of.
I mean, with the Recs, it's always the ability to handle it. I thought from a basketball thing, I really watched his late in the year games, state playoff games. They had some really good basketball games, good competition, big crowds. Indiana, they played all their games. I think that was another benefit for Jake. Some states were having COVID and they only played 10 games. He was playing, and he was playing in front of crowds, and it was good basketball. And I remember, watching, I don't know exactly who it was, but I was like, man, this guy's, he's got something. And if he's 6'4", I just thought the way he plays basketball, the way he moves, he had the ball in his hands a lot. He didn't have the ball in his hands. He was cutting, he was moving. I thought he was going to be that kind of kid, but you never know in terms of when they get here, how they're going to be affected, mentally and physically. And he's done a really good job all year long. I mean, now he's done well in school. I mean, I think it's so important to be able to handle the school side of it, because then mentally you're not getting beat up in school, So he does a good job there. So he's able to come down and play basketball every day. And he's a basketball player. He's a gym rat. He loves basketball. So you do good in school and you can focus that way. He's really handled the the place really well, and he's just continuing to get better and more confident each game.
In what ways do you think he's going to grow as a player?
Well, I just think when you play the way he does, he's a giver. He's just an energizer bunny. I mean, he's just moving all the time. He's got a little, I mean, I shouldn't say it, I date myself, but, like John Havlicek, in him, just Bill Bradley, they just moves all over the place, hard to guard, constantly got to guard him, and he can do things with the ball in his hands. So I really think his growth lies, one, in continuing to play with Ethan and have both those guys sort of grow in each other's way, like have Jake have the ball more to sort of have Ethan, you got to guard Ethan without the ball and have him grow that way, and Jake can definitely do that, and I know Ethan can, and I think that's, and you saw a little bit last game. Unfortunately, we have to do it because Ethan's out, but having him with the ball and sort of being in charge and doing things to help AJ to keep him there, it didn't affect Jake because he just plays basketball. He just keeps playing and he keeps playing and he keeps playing. And in some respects, the other team, we have to keep getting more and more guys like that because the way he plays, the other team has to match him. As he grows up and gets stronger and puts on some weight and gets physically stronger, and he's that kind of energizer bunny, he plays in a way where the other team has to match his energy, and we need more than one like that. You need a whole bunch, but once you have one, and I believe Ethan's like that, you know what I mean? You get two, and you keep recruiting and building, you have those things to point to, and next thing you know, you got a bunch of guys that play that way. So I just think he can keep getting better, and size-wise, big guard-wise in this league, it's going to be beneficial, as he gets older and stronger and more experienced.
Is Ethan going to make the trip?
He's making the trip. He'll be probably a day of the game time decision, I think. Hopefully he's getting better. But, it's definitely not, it could go either way, whether he's going to play or not. So, unfortunately. Yeah, ankle. I think it's his left ankle. Yeah, it's his left ankle. So he's doing better. Obviously it would be great to have him. Hopefully it'll help if he doesn't, that we played one game without him. But he makes a big difference on both ends of the court for us. Similar because, he's a giver. He's an energy guy. That helps everybody. So, like same thing I just said, you have two out there, and an AJ. I mean, that makes a big difference. So, but we'll see. Hopefully we somehow catch a break, and he over the next 36 hours, he feels better.
How tough is the Mountain West this year, just in general? Because up and down, it looks like it's the most competitive it's been in years.
Yeah, it's a really good league. I mean, I was watching the game last night, San Diego State, Nevada, and then I watched Fresno State and Wyoming, and and the Fresno State coach said this is the best the league's been, because top to bottom, if you don't play well, you're not gonna be successful. You know what I mean? In order to win, you got to play well, and you got to do it fairly consistently within the context of that game. You know what I mean? You got to play well for 40 minutes. Obviously, that's always the case for us. That's our learning curve to see if we can continue to do that in February and make sure we stay in games. That's why it'd be great to be full strength in February. But overall, like I said, you watched Nevada play last night. They don't have two of their best players. They have some good depth. But when Nevada's eighth in your league, that says something. So I think the depth and then the top of the league is, they're good. But like I think Justin said last night, I don't know if the top of the league's as good as the top's been before, like the best teams. But the depth of the league is, I think, the best it's ever been.
And then after Saturday's loss, with how important this next stretch is, what do you want to see from your guys tomorrow and even for practice tonight?
Well, we just have to, like I just said, that's why at this time of year, certain teams obviously can handle, losing a player here or there better than others. For us, obviously it's unbelievably important for us to be full strength at this juncture because I think, obviously, it would really help us handle this stretch, you know what I mean? Because this stretch we have facing us right now is really, really unbelievable. You know, to go to Vegas, to go to San Diego State, to have Boise State come here, to have Wyoming. I think those last two are both top 25, and you know, San Diego State's top 40. And then you're talking about going to UNLV. I think they have a national championship banner up there. I'm not sure, but you know, so really it's just about what the question is. We got to be able to handle it. You know what I mean? We've gone through whatever the months are through January. I want to get Ethan back so that we can really see and answer, you know, your question. You know, have everybody there and go through this slugfest and this gauntlet that we're going to go through over the next, you know, 3 weeks, and have it be full strength so we do it as a team and we learn together as a team. We go with the ups and the downs, you know, as a team. And I think if we can do that, we're going to come out on the other side, you know, better for it. I don't know what our record will be, but I know we'll get better and tougher as we go through the month of February if we can be doing it, you know, full strength.